You work every day, but he feels that he is surviving, not living. The salary comes in and disappears before the month ends. You do everything right, follow the rules, wake up early, and yet it seems that he is always losing. No one said the country collapsed, but something isn't working. And perhaps the scariest thing is this: everyone feels, but no one can explain it. You wake up, and even before getting out of bed, he already feels it. It's not sleep, it's not laziness, it's that strange weight, as if the whole day has been waiting for you. Maybe you don't even know how to explain it properly. He just feels it. The alarm clock goes off, and the first thing that comes to mind is not "good morning." It's, "Okay, let's go again." You pick up your phone, check the time, think about bills, work, things that need to be sorted out, all before you even brush your teeth. It seems exaggerated, but it is not. Anyone who lives here knows exactly what I'm talking about. You get up, make coffee, get ready quickly. Everything is automatic. Not because you want to live like this, but because you can't delay. It never works. And the strangest thing is this: you're not doing anything wrong. You work. You show up every day. You keep schedules. You do what an American has always been told to do. Even so, something has changed. On the way to work, in traffic, or on the subway, you look around and realize that no one is really at ease. Everyone seems too busy, too serious, too quiet. It's not just you. It is up in the air. And here comes that thought that you try to dispel. Why is everything harder than it used to be? Because it wasn't like that. You remember, there was a time when working meant stability. In what effort it gave some security. When it was possible to plan the month, sometimes even the year. Today, the day begins, and you already feel that you are chasing. Not after luxury, not after wealth. Behind keeping everything standing. And the most uncomfortable thing is to realize this early in the morning, when the day has barely begun. And you're already tired. Not tired of the body. Tired of the pressure. From the feeling that any mistake can be too costly. You didn't collapse. His life did not fall apart. But something was different. And you feel it every day, even without knowing exactly when it started. You start to realize that it's not just tiredness. It's not just a bad phase. It's something deeper and stranger, because you keep doing everything the right way. You wake up early, go to work. He keeps to the schedule. He delivers what they ask for. There is no shortage of them. He does not complain. It doesn't stop. You do exactly what you've always been told would work. But, at some point, an uncomfortable question begins to arise. One of those that we avoid thinking too much. Why isn't this working as before? You work more hours, but the money seems to yield less. The salary comes in and disappears too, quickly. The bills arrive before the end of the month. And what was predictable before, now it has become a surprise. Not a good surprise. You're not spending more. He is not living above what he can. He is not being irresponsible. Even so, everything weighs. And the most difficult thing is not the value of things. It is the feeling that the rules have changed without warning. Before, there was a simple logic. Work, grow, feel safe. Today, that streak seems broken. You do your part, but the ground does not respond as it did before. And when you talk to other people, colleagues, friends, neighbors, you realize that no one talks about it out loud, but everyone feels the same way. Nobody says, "I'm afraid," but you see it in the eyes, in silence, in the way conversations have changed. Before, there was talk of plans. Now there is talk of holding on. Gradually, you stop thinking about growing, then stop thinking about improving, and he only begins to think about not falling. This does not happen overnight. It's slow, almost invisible. You still go to work. He still pays the bills. It still keeps everything running. On the outside, it looks normal. Inside, no. There is constant tension, a feeling of instability that doesn't go away even on good days. Because even when nothing goes wrong, you feel that all it takes is one thing to move out of place. A health problem, an unexpected dismissal, an expense that was not in the plan, and everything can swing. That's the point, where many Americans come, and almost never admit it. It's not a lack of effort. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of will. It is the silent perception that following the rules no longer guarantees safety. And that changes everything. It changes the way you sleep, as you think, how you look to the future. You keep moving forward because there's no other option. But something inside you begins to ask, lower and lower, more and more serious. If I'm doing everything right, why does it still feel like I'm losing? And when that question starts popping up often, it is because something has really changed. At some point in life, you realize that fear has shifted. Before, the fear was not to grow. It was not conquering. It was to be left behind. Not today. Today, the fear is to fall, and it completely changes the way you live. You no longer wake up thinking about moving forward. You wake up thinking about standing up. It's strange to admit it, but it's real. You get to measure every decision, every expense, every choice, not because he became weak, but because the stakes were too high. A mistake today weighs more than it did before. A simple problem seems big. A surprise seems dangerous. An instability seems threatening. You feel it when you think about health, when he thinks about work, when you think about your children's future. Things that were scary before, now they give anxiety. And no one explained to you when it started. You only realize that little by little, you stopped dreaming big. Not for lack of ambition, but for fear of losing what little stability still exists. You start thinking phrases you never thought you could think. If I lose this job, what happens? How long can I hold out if something goes wrong? What if I can't get up again? These thoughts don't come with noise. They arrive in silence. They arrive while you drive, while paying bills, while looking at her phone at night before going to sleep. And the heaviest thing is not to think about it. It's realizing that you're not the only one. You see it in the short conversations, in the tired looks, in the way people avoid talking about the future. Before, there was talk of plans. Today, there is talk of resistance. Before, there was talk of growing. Today, there is talk of holding on. And perhaps this is the most difficult point to accept. You're not living any worse than before, but it is living with less security. And security is not a luxury. It's peace. It is sleeping without thinking about everything that can go wrong. It is working without feeling that you are walking a fine line. It is knowing that one stumble will not destroy everything. When that disappears, life goes on, but it gets heavier. You keep doing what you've always done. Keep working. It keeps popping up every day. But now there is a constant, quiet, discreet fear, almost invisible. The fear of falling and not being able to get up. If at any time you felt it, write in the comments, I feel it. 2. You don't need to explain. He only writes. Because a lot of people who are watching now feel exactly the same way, and you may never have heard anyone say it out loud. At some point, you understand that the problem is not just money. It's not just work either, nor lack of effort. It's the feeling that something essential has changed, and you are not warned. You look at your life and realize that technically everything is still working. You still have a job. He still pays the bills. He still wakes up every day and moves on. But inside, the tranquility disappeared. There is no longer that feeling of everything is under control. There is only the constant thought that anything can go out of place. You begin to live in a state of alertness. It's not panic. It is surveillance. You pay too much attention to everything. He calculates too much. He thinks too much. Even the moments of rest seem loaded. You are with the family, but the mind is far away. He is sitting at home, but his body does not relax. It is silent, but the thought does not stop. And this tires in a way that sleep does not solve, because it's not physical fatigue. It's emotional. It is the weight of feeling that life has become something fragile, that what once seemed solid, work, stability, future, now seems too delicate, as if everything was supported by something fine. And the most painful thing is to realize that this is not something that appears in the news. Nobody announces this on television. No one makes pronouncements. Nobody calls it a crisis. But you feel it every day. You feel it when you think about your children, when he thinks about tomorrow, when you think about how long it would take for everything to get out of place if something went wrong. And here comes the most difficult thought to admit. Why do I feel afraid? Even doing everything right, because you did what they asked. He worked. He followed rules. He took responsibility. And yet, security went away. Not dramatically. Not all at once. It just oozed out. Slowly. And when you realize it, you can no longer imagine the future with the same lightness as before. You don't want luxury. He doesn't want wealth. He does not want excesses. You just want to breathe without feeling your chest tight. He wants to wake up without that invisible weight. He wants to work without feeling like he's always on edge. He wants to feel that life will not fall apart because of a detail. Perhaps this is what is happening to so many Americans today. Not a declared collapse, not a visible disaster, but a silent collapse. That doesn't destroy everything at once. But he gradually takes what mattered most, the feeling of security. And when that goes away, life goes on, but it never looks the same again. Maybe what's happening isn't something that appears in the newspapers, but something you feel every day. It's not about failing. It's about trying to live right in a system that seems, increasingly heavy. If this all sounds familiar, it's because you're not alone in this quiet feeling. And in the next video, we'll delve even deeper into what's changing and why so many people are feeling it at the same time.